When you think of fashion, you probably think of names like Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry if I'm butchering up. Please don't kill me in the comments. Coco Chanel, stuff like that. So, I'm starting a series, and I'm going to call it Designer Crimes. I'm going to focus on, this is going to be a mini series where I would choose 5 fashion houses and focus on them in ways that they broke the law. Some involve killing someone, some involve bank fraud, tax fraud, some involve sexual assault. It just depends. So, um, what you do, I want you to hit that like button. I want you to comment some. Okay, so you want me fashion house you want me to talk about next where a crime happened. And if I don't talk about it in the mini-series, I will jump to it in my later series, in my other series. But I am working on some podcast episodes as well, so I will see y'all in a few. Welcome to True Crime Lounge. Let's try again. Welcome to True Crime Lounge. My name is Breezy. And if you're new here, hit that like button, comment in case you want me to talk about next, ring that bell for notifications, and please, please, please hit that subscribe button, please, guys. Now, let's get started, shall we? We will be talking in our mini-series, starting with Peter Nygard. Why does this name ring a bell? Well, if you've seen Dateline, you probably know this case. If not, I might have to take. If not, then here we go. But Peter Nygard, I'll be honest with you, I never really heard of him until the Dateline episode came out, so I had to do my own research to find out like what's going on and all of that stuff. So, let's get started, shall we? Why is my nose itching? Okay, so Peter Nygard, his net worth is about 900 million. His popular name is Peter Nygard, but his real name is Peter J. He was born on July 24th, 1941 in Helsinki, Finland. He's 81. He's a male, and of course he's a male. He is Finnish and Canadian. There's no known list of spouses, but he is believed to have about 10 children. He's a businessman, a fashion designer. He's been active since 1967. So, who is he exactly? Well, Nygard is a Canadian businessman and former fashion executive. He is the founder of Nygard International, a company that produces women's apparel. He resigned as chairman in the company of 2020 after his FBI raided his headquarters. The headquarters of his company in the investigation of sex trafficking accusations against him by several women. So in 2009, Peter Nygard's net worth was about 750 million, which qualified him to be named the 70th richest man in Canada, according to his financial values. So, what do we know about his early life? Well, Nygard was born July 24th, 1941, in Helsinki, Finland. His parents were, I'm going to attempt to pronounce this, but I know I'm going to butcher it up. Feely, and Hika, who immigrated to Canada in around 1952 when Peter was an 11-year-old child. They eventually settled in Winnipeg, where he enrolled in the University of North Dakota. So he has some American roots, I see. So he graduated with a business degree in 1964, and upon leaving college, he began a number of small jobs in which he was employed as a sales manager for a company called Jacob's Fashion was a new line for women denim. So in 1967, 26-year-old Peter used his life savings, estimated to about $8,000, alone to buy a 20% stake in the company that was founded by Nathan Jacob. A few years later, Peter bought Nathan out of the company and renamed the business. So since then, he has never looked back and has gone on to accomplish so much from his multiple businesses. So what about his career? Well, about December 1st, 1967, Nygard started working for the company named Jacob's Fashion. His position, of course, was sales manager for the jeans line for women's clothing manufacturing. So, as I said earlier, he went through his life savings with a loan, which eventually bought it out. He would have renamed the company and call it Tanjay. So, also in 1967, Nygard was 26 at the time and established his own apparel manufacturing business called Nygard. His early days, the company made sportswear. 10 years later, expanded to the U.S., where today the company is known as Nygard International and has corporate headquarters located in Manhattan, Times Square. The company has grown to become one of the world's biggest women's clothing producers and suppliers. The company that generates approximately about $500 million per year in revenue, employs about 12,000 people around the year, and operates more than 200 retail stores in North America. Its products was carried at Costco, Dillard's, Walmart, and more. Did I see his brand, just not recognize it? See, I like fashion, guys, but I also like the thrifty fashion. You get what I'm saying? Because I can't afford that high-end fashion. So, in 1987, Nygard, 36 at the time, built a 150,000 square feet compound in Layford Cay in the Bahamas, which was partly destroyed by wildfire in November 2009. So the Cay inspired an architecture of the Mayan civilization, one of the main structures of the massive 32,000 feet square Grand Hall, and was a 50 U.S. tons glass ceiling. So in 2010, Peter announced a renovation of Nygard Cave to be worth about $50 million. Wow, wish I had that much money. So the reconstruction process would see the 2,200 construction workers that are employed that will take 2 years to complete and fix the damage caused by a fire. After his announcement, a letter from the Bahamian Prime Minister rejected his construction application, pointing out the improper expansion of the compound throughout the intentional extension of the land over the island, the seabed. So, on September 28, 2018, Nygard Cay was seized by the Bahamas Supreme Court as part of a legal battle surrounding Nygard's effort to dredge the seabed around the estate. So, let's talk about his personal life and controversies. Well, Nygard was married to Carol Knight in the 1970s for a brief period, where he was reportedly estimated had about 10 children from 8 women, if not more. So this was Nick Cannon before all of this. He was an avid supporter of the research of breast cancer, and he has donated handsomely to the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation and has supported the Bahama team and Amateur Boxing Federation as playing an important role in the Olympic success. So, in February 2020, a total of 10 women filed a class action lawsuit against Nygard, accusing business mogul of rapes that allegations took place in the oceanfront mansion situated in the Bahamas. Peter had been accused of running a sex trafficking and recruiting underage women. The businessman had vehemently denied the accusation, reporting that they are a result of a paid smear campaign orchestrated by his Bahamian neighbor, Louis Bacon. Is it Louis or Louis? So Bacon is the hedge fund billionaire with whom Peter has been decades-long feud with. So what about his net worth exactly? Well, the Finnish Canadian fashion executive has earned his wealth as the founder and chairman of the Canadian-based company Nygard International, a manufacturer of clothing company for women's clothing. So in 2009, Nygard's net worth ranged about 750 million, and like I said earlier, this qualified him as the 70th richest man in Canada. It is reported that he owns at least two Boeing 727 jets, both private jets, both that are decorated with his name across the body. So Nygard's net worth has been estimated about 900 million. Wow. Yeah. So, where exactly is he now? Well, Evil by Design exposing Peter Nygard was is a three-part documentary series based on the CBC podcast. This documentary, which is premiered on August 12, 2022, features the crime of disgraced Finnish Canadian fashion designer Peter Nygard. Nygard has been accused of preying on women in the United States, Canada, and the Bahamas for over 40 years. He allegedly used his business to lure women and young girls into sexual encounters with him and his associates. So in 2020, he was arrested in Winnipeg on various charges of sexual assault, and forcible confinement. He was extradited to the U.S. once the Canadian charges were addressed. Nygard, 81, is presently being held in Toronto jail awaiting trial. So, the disgraced fashion designer Nygard has been denied bail on charges of sexually assaulting and forcibly confining 6 women in Toronto from 1987 to 2006. However, with the rise of the #MeToo movement, many women came forward to accuse Nygard of sexual assault, sexual trafficking, and trafficking of minors with forcible confinement. So since his arrest in Winnipeg in the late 2020, Nygard remains in prison and is being denied bail. Canada's Justice Minister, David Lametti, took to Twitter to inform the world that Nygard would be surrendered for extradition once the proceedings against him in Toronto court conclude. He faces sexual assault and forcible confinement charges in Canada. So, due to the publication bans, none of the arguments and evidence presented in court will be revealed, nor can they identify the accusers to be disclosed. However, Evil by Design exposing Peter Nygard will feature stories from his survivors. Nygard stepped down as the chairman of Nygard International in 2020, following his raid on his New York headquarters by the FBI. The company has since filed for bankruptcy. 9 of Nygard's international companies have been placed in court, appointed receivership March 2020. So most recently, a Manitoba judge rejected Nygard's question for the company's current receivership of its criminal defense lawyers. So who is he? Well, as I've been saying, he is a Finnish Canadian fashion mogul who founded the Winnipeg-based women's apparel Nygard International. That is it for today's episode. I will see y'all next time.